Whether you have a Mach-E, an Equinox, whatever EV you have, road trips can be daunting. So we wanted to prepare you for your EV road trips, maybe this summer, how exciting, with this ultimate EV road trip guide. What better way to do it than going on a road trip? So as we start this journey, we're gonna take you guys along with us from the planning stages, the packing stage, all the way to the charging and the prepping for your destination. There's a whole lot to keep in mind, and we're gonna take you on this entire journey with us. I'm Liv.
I'm Patrick.
And we're the mach-e vlog. Now let's go on an EV road trip. This video is sponsored by EV Vita, creators of mods and accessories for all EVs and exclusive resellers of best EV mod accessories with direct customer support.
With EV Vita, it doesn't just end when you get their products. They have lots of tutorials. They're very quick to answer questions. We have their products in our Mach-e and our Equinox, and we're really proud to have them as a sponsor.
First things first, we are indeed starting a road trip. So let's just kick it off and get you guys the stats. What we're doing, where we're going, and what our vehicle is at right now.
Yeah, so the point is like we're gonna show you what it's like to actually do this road trip with all the stats, take you along for the journey, but we're also gonna give you the guide. So the first stat, we left the house at 94% charge. Normally I'd like to leave at 100%. That was my fault. I forgot to tell it to start charging last night. Because I normally don't want it to charge up to 100% every day, but that's like one of the first tips, sneak preview. It can be a great way to start your road trip, starting out at 100% charge. So we started at 94% charge. We had like 228 miles of range. And then sneak preview as well. We're going to show you how to do a little bit of EV routing. The car is telling us to stop at 108 miles for our first charging stop. And we may change that. We may look at some other charging options, but we'll get into all of that. But that's what we're starting off as. We're going to Las Vegas, if we haven't said that yet, which is about 300 miles from our home in Oceanside, California. We've done this journey many times because of conventions. We're going to the EV Charging Summit this time and other reasons. So we're very familiar with this route, and it's easy for us, and we know there's lots of chargers, but we're going to address this as like, if you are new to the EV world, we're going to give you some advice on how to make it less stressful on your first EV road trips. One important part about doing your EV road trip is doing EV route planning. If you're coming from a gas car, you may be like me. It's like I know what route I want to take, general terms, and I would just stop and get gas when the low gas light came on. I wouldn't really think about it too much or do much planning. With an EV, you really do need to do a little bit of pre-planning to figure things out. And you can do that like the night before or just when you get in the car. But the whole idea is like you want to at least make sure that there's charging stations out there. We won't go into a whole big thing about like the charging environment is improving and all that other stuff. As of right now, it's probably a good idea to just plan your route, even on something like from San Diego to Las Vegas, where we know there's a lot of chargers. We don't want to be with 10 miles of range and the charger's 15 miles away. So EV route planning is more specific than just using Google Maps. In the Mach-e, in most EVs, they have some type of EV route planning in their navigation system. With the Mach-e, you can also use Google Maps and Android Auto to do your EV route planning, or Apple Maps and CarPlay to do your EV route planning. Another third option that you can do, and you can even run this like on your desktop, but on your car as well, is a better route planner. All of these have like little quirks and things like that. We won't go into too much detail with all of them, but I'll give you a brief overview. If you want us to do a detailed video on any of those, drop a note in the comments, and if we have enough interest, we'll do like one on a better route planner, one on Google Maps, and one on Apple Maps, for example. So I'm just going to show you like how I am going to do our EV route planning for this trip. Even now, now that I'm on the road, I did it before I went home, but I'm going to do it again here, just to give you an idea and why it's important, and what type of details. Okay, so I'm using Google Maps for this one, and let me see. We'll click here. That's the hotel we're going to, and it was like spinning and thinking and adding charging stops. It's recommending 2 charging stops, one at Electrify America in Barstow and one in Baker, California, and it's telling me 10 minutes and 37 minutes for my charge. So this is sort of what I was saying, like EV route planning is a little bit different than just saying like I'm going to Vegas in a gas car, because it adds the charging stops. It tells you how long you want to stop there, and depending on the navigation system, it's also matching your preferences. So it's not going to route me to like a slow charger. If I say like I don't want to use a certain brand charger, like if I want to exclude Tesla Superchargers, I could actually say like don't include Tesla Superchargers. So it gives you a lot of flexibility of setting up your preferences. And it also, with Apple Maps, Google Maps, as well as the car's navigation, obviously, and a better route planner, you put in your car's details. So it's doing the route planning based on your specific car. It's not going to assume you have 500 miles of range. We have the Performance Mach-E with the GT Performance Edition. So our car has 260 miles of range at a full 100% charge. So it's making all of those calculations, and it has real-time data. So it knows that right now we're down to 73% charge. It's making these calculations based off of that. And that's really like, we can go into a lot more in detail, and I can just hit start. It'll start navigating us. But I will, since we are here, and I got to keep my eyes on the road. I'm using Blue Cruise hands-free, but we're going to hit navigation with the Ford Nav and do the same thing just to show you. And maybe we'll insert an Apple Maps. Let's see, we'll go search. Oh, I got to hit recents because I can't type while I'm driving. So here we go. Like here's one in Las Vegas. Actually, not exactly where we're going, but it's good enough for this purpose of just doing a route plan. And you can see, again, it's sort of showing me some different options and telling me like there's 3 different options. One is 5 hours, one at 6 hours and 43 minutes, and another one is 5 hours and 3 minutes. So if let's see, do I need, it's telling me to watch the road again. If I hit go, it's going to go ahead and start, and I can hit details. It's again telling me 2 charging station stops. One little pet peeve of the Ford Nav, it doesn't tell me what city those are in, but that one is Barstow. I can tell you just because I've done this route so many times. The next one is in Prim, so it's like saying we could actually skip the Baker charging station and make it all the way to Prim. So very cool that it basically is planning our stops, giving us all the details of where, like when we get there, we're going to get there at 18% state of charge, and it's recommending only charging up to 63%. I will say, like, that's something that confuses people when they are first going out on an EV road trip and doing their first charging sessions. It's sort of like, why wouldn't I go up to 100% each time? And the car is recommending 63%. Basically, the car knows it's like the most optimal thing is like to just charge as much as you need and move on to the next one. And we'll get into some of those details in a little bit, but we generally just go to 80% because it's still relatively fast to do that. But we'll get into that. But that's the overall great thing about doing EV route planning. It just basically takes all of that like guesswork out of trying to find chargers along the route or anything like that. It handles it for you, and try out whatever one might suit your needs the best. You might prefer Apple Maps over the Ford Nav, or you might switch to Google and use Google Maps. Whatever one works for you. The biggest point is get used to doing EV route planning. A little bit of bonus coverage just because I mentioned that you can do Apple Maps with CarPlay. So I attach my iPhone now and using CarPlay, and I'm going to do the reverse because we're in Vegas. We'll say just back to Oceanside. And it's thinking, and it's adding in my 2 stops here to charge on the way home. I can't like see any details. Unfortunately, that's sort of like one of the drawbacks of using Apple Maps. You can't really see like where it's telling you to stop other than the little indicators on the map. But if I...
To Oceanside. In about 1 hour, 15 minutes, you will need to make 1 stop at Baker to charge your vehicle. You should arrive with a 32% battery charge. You can ask Siri to report any crashes or hazards you see along the way.
So it just told me all of that info. Hopefully we caught all of that. But basically it's having this charge in Baker, but I'm like, I can't really see any details here. But again, it's sort of nice to see the whole thing. And if I zoom all the way out, I can see there's Baker, Electrify America, 12 chargers. And then where's the next stop? It looks like Tesla Supercharger. I don't know where that is, but somewhere. So anyways, it's the same thing as with the other apps, another way that you can do your EV route planning. So anyways, bonus coverage.
And of course, we are talking about the Ford nav system, but other EVs, other vehicles have their own. Most of them, obviously, we have an Equinox, so we have that in our Chevy Equinox. You have to let us know how your system is and if you like it. So now you have your road trip all planned. You get to start the road trip and enjoy it, and that's what we're going to do for a little bit.
About the car.
Yeah.
We're doing a road trip. You're in a road trip video now.
Yay!
No, it's just that. And those are cameras.
Okay, how cool.
Yeah.
But if you want to wave, I got you right here. Hi. What's your name?
Kiara.
Kiara.
Nice to
Thanks
meet
for
you.
the help. Bye. Thank you. Wow, that looks so cool. Surprise car wash. We were not at all expecting to do a car wash. And yes, this is suddenly a random thing to be including on this road trip. But, oh, wow, the camera is totally, you guys, you know we're kind of all over the place sometimes, as organized as we are.
This part if you want. And by the way, you may have seen that there's brushes. We asked, can you turn the brushes off? And they said they can. So hopefully we don't get brushes on the car. Are you the type that wants to skip brushes on your car?
Isn't it bad for PPF?
It could be bad just for your paint, but PPF, it can like sometimes pull it up.
This is
good.
This is fun and interesting. So I think that you can actually hear us because we've done this before at Road Charging. We filmed inside of a car wash.
Oh, my mic
Patrick's mic is off. Now you can hear Patrick better because his mic is actually on. But love to share about great stops, whether they're charging stops or they're just stops in general. This place is called Mega Mart, and where are we, Patrick?
Beats me.
Not even
Riverside?
Near Riverside. So we stopped just to go to the restroom, and it's such a lovely facility. It's well kept. So we just said hey to the staff, and we're like, hey guys, thanks for keeping this place clean. And they were like, thank you, go get a free car wash. So Lucifer Tucifer, in my mind, we were in Aquinox because we just did an Aquinox road trip. But no, Lucifer Tucifer is now clean and shiny for the rest of the road trip. And so that is my question. Do you wash your car before a road trip? Make it all clean and shiny, because now we are.
Of course, with any road trip, you gotta pack your stuff. But for an EV road trip, there are a couple of things that I would recommend carrying with you, and you may just carry them with you all the time. One of the first things that we'll recommend is whatever adapters that you need. Ford has sent out a lot of free Tesla adapters. If you didn't get one, you can actually order one now. So the first big thing is like your Tesla Supercharger adapter. That opens up I think about 20,000 Tesla supercharging stalls at over 2,000 locations. So your choices for charging are far greater. So if you don't have one, I would recommend getting one. And I do want to make a distinction. So there is the Tesla supercharger adapter, but we also have a Tesla destination charger adapter. Destination chargers in the Tesla world, that basically is like your level 2 charger that you would normally have at home. And sometimes you find those at hotels. And they're just over $100. So it's a little bit more like of an insurance policy or nice to have. It's not necessarily as essential as the supercharger adapter, but it is nice to have because there's been a couple of times when we've been at hotels and they only have Tesla destination chargers, but we're able to use them. So sort of a nice, cool perk. And those charging sessions were free. So it ended up, offsetting some of that cost.
And of course, this is if you have a CCS vehicle. If you have a Tesla vehicle, then you'd have your Tesla to CCS adapter. And if you have a Leaf, you could have the Chatham Motors CCS adapter. All useful things that really open up your opportunities for charging so that you don't have to be quite so reliant on one specific thing and quite so stressed out.
Yeah, more options, the better. We'll put some links down in the, down below to some video reviews that we've done of some of the adapters that you can get from like A to Z and Electron, as well as links to buy them. The next thing though that I recommend is like the Mach-E and a lot of other EVs like our Equinox, they come with tire inflators. But we carry that with us because it came with the car and it stores nicely. But we also got a battery powered one that I think is just more convenient, and it's also a jump starter. And you can't like jump start an EV, but if you come across somebody in a gas car that needs a jump start, you should not jump start them with your EV. But if you have this portable jump starter, you can do that. And the fact that it's a battery powered tire inflator is really nice because it's otherwise you have to like plug it into the 12 volt in the car and then drag the cable, and it's just like cumbersome. But the battery powered one has been very useful for just checking the tire pressure like on road trips, especially with elevation changes and temperature changes. Sometimes it's like you got to adjust. But in addition, it's nice to have like when we're going on bike rides and things like that. I use it for that more often than the car. But on a road trip, it's be super convenient and super nice to have that. Another thing that I sort of recommend carrying, we carry it pretty much on every road trip, but we've never had to use it, is your portable charger. So if your car came with a portable charger or you bought a portable charger, it can be a nice to have. Situations where you might plan on using it is like some Airbnbs may provide you with an outlet so you can charge. So of course it would be useful then. Check with Airbnb host, make sure you're okay to do that because you don't want to upset any of the hosts. But the other thought is like in an extreme emergency where like you can't make a charger or something like that, even if you found a wall outlet, you may be stuck for hours and hours, but if you're stuck, you might as well, see if you can find an outlet and charge. Some RV campsites give you access. So there are some situations like that. There's actually, they call it the loneliest road, and it's across Nevada from like Tahoe or Reno east. And it's the loneliest road. And somebody did a road trip across there, and they ended up, that's what they did, is they went to a gas station because they misjudged their range and used a portable charger to charge up. They were stuck for like an additional 8 hours, but that's all they needed just to get enough to get to like a real charger. So,
and we've had a situation like that in a video before. I can't remember entirely which one, but there was a power outage in the entire town and we really needed to charge. So we were trying to find, where is the line of the outage and is there an outlet beyond that line that we could use? So it's just an essential really to have just in case you need to get your own power from somewhere. You're not relying on something else. Yeah,
if you have the room, those are the things I would say just carry with you. If you're going around town, you may not need the portable charger, but like I like carrying the adapter, the air inflator, and the portable charger. Just I put it up at the front just don't use it as often. If you don't have a frunk, you know, you can sometimes put it underneath the subfloor of your trunk. So those are things. There's a lot more stuff that you may want to include. We have a video on like
what's in your frunk.
What's in your frunk if you want to watch that. But those are like the sort of like keep those adapters, tire inflator, and a charger.
Those are absolute essentials. Definitely, if you're interested, go watch that video because there are some things that are pertinent to the EV experience that you might not think of if you haven't taken an EV road trip before, like the fact, I'll just throw it in here, that you don't go to gas stations that maybe have window wipey cleaning equipment everywhere. So like our windshield tends to get more dirty. So we carry supplies to clean that. And it is really nice having a front for that option to just throw things in. But
yeah, if you you know, want to throw in suggestions of what you found useful, again, we love jumping into the comments section, responding, and we'll make an update video at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And just a trip update, we're like 25 minutes, 27 miles to our charging stop in Barstow. So we're going to get ready for that, and we'll charge there, and we'll give you an update on our trip stats when we get in. Okay, we're at our first charging stop. Easy peasy. We're down to 29% battery. A lot of experts, or when you get more experience with road tripping, you don't want to necessarily stop at 29%. Probably optimal to stop at like 5%, 10%, 12%, something like that. And the reason for that is the car charges faster at the lower state of charge, but who cares? We're here, we're going to charge. This is one of the recommended stops by Google as well as the Ford Nav. So anyways, we finished at 29% battery. We still have 69 miles of range left. So far, we've done 141.2 miles, 2.5 hours with the car on. That's that clock. Those vary by car on how it keeps track of stats. 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour, not the greatest. Again, this is the performance edition of the Mach-e GT, so it's one of the least range Mach-es. But it doesn't really matter. We have 69 miles of range left. And then like all these other stats down here, I sort of ignore those. But it's sort of a nice to know, to see like climate use was 3%. It's almost a perfect day. It's like 75 degrees. I think when we left the house, it was a bit chilly and foggy, as you saw. I think it was like 52 degrees or so. But anyways, we're going to go charge, and I'm going to show you how to charge if you've never done it before. Okay. I know a lot of you have probably charged before at a fast charger, but if you haven't, we're going to go through a couple of things. First of all, this is a CCS car. You can tell basically by looking at the plug and a CCS charger. Don't need to worry about the details. The only ones that are different right now are the Tesla ones, but you'll notice the difference from being at home is that these cables are really big and heavy, but most charging stations have charging cable management to make it really easy. Now at Electrify America, we have the option with the Mach-e to just plug in and it should start charging. It's called plug and charge. It works here at Electrify America, it works with Tesla Superchargers. The Mach-e, the Lightning, and a few other cars work on Electrify America like that. I always come over and check. We won't necessarily show you the screen because it's really hard to see, but it's authorized a payment. It takes about a minute at Electrify America for it to initiate the charge with plug and charge. And it did not give me my, oh no. So it's very expensive here, 64 cents per kilowatt hour. We'll get into that when we're talking about, how to pick charging stations, because we could have saved money going across town. But as you can see, that was very easy. I just plugged in and it's going to start the charge. There are other ways to get your charging session started. Of course, very obvious, there's like a credit card reader. You can tap and pay. It says members, you can tap and pay here with the plan. You can swipe to pay. So there's multiple charging options here. You can also, one of the great things about having a Ford EV is they have in the Ford Pass app a way to activate chargers that are on the Blue Oval Charge Network. Blue Oval Charge Network, you won't see any like logos or anything like that, but basically it includes the big ones like Electrify America, Tesla, EVgo, most charge points. You can literally just go into the Ford Pass app, tap on what charger you're at and activate the charge. In the mach-e, there's also a charging screen that's basically the same thing. You can bring it up, it's called public charging. You find the charger that you're at and you can activate it. And then the final way is if you have like the Electrify America app, or if you have the EVgo app, at that place, or even the Tesla app, you can use the actual app from the company that you're charging at. The easiest, of course, is just plug and charge. You just plug in and forget it. The next one I would say is the Ford Pass, because it has, all the different charging options available. I guess tap and pay is pretty easy as well. And the only reason that I would recommend that you might want to get like the Electrify America app or the Tesla app or the EVgo app is they do have like membership plans. So like if I would have activated with the Electrify America app here, I could have saved, I think, about 13 cents per kilowatt hour. I wanted to show you how easy it is. The memberships cost anywhere from $7 to $12, $13 a month. So if you're not charging a lot, it doesn't really save a lot of money. So like on this road trip, we're gonna charge enough that it probably would have paid for me to use the membership. But for the convenience of it, plug and charge is so quick and easy. Main thing is that I would recommend, if you haven't done an EV road trip, if you have a charger in your town, just go give it a try. When you're not stressed out, you don't have the kids or the dog that need to run to the bathroom, just go there by yourself, try charging, seeing what it's like, and also verifying that your payment stuff works. You got to make sure that you have all your credit card info up to date, like in your Ford account to use plug and charge, or with the apps, of course, you have to make sure your credit card info is in there. So it's a good idea, just test it out before you go on the long road trip. This charger was at a Walmart, so we walked around, we actually did some shopping, we stretched our legs, and we ended up getting lunch and adapted our EV charging plan. It was calling for 2 charges, and there was like a lot of chargers available, and we were shopping and decided to get lunch. So now I believe that we can skip the second charge. One thing to note, and we got up really high, we're at 98%. So it went really slow at the end, but again, we were eating, not rushing. And we have 239 miles of range according to the guessometer. But if you're going to go above 80%, the other thing that you want to do is, if you can, try to watch the chargers, either visibly watch them, or like this is an Electrify America charger, I could look in the app, because you don't want to be there, come back out, and there's a bunch of people waiting. We saw it getting full, and then I saw there was 0 available. So I'm like, oh no, we gotta get back to the car quicker. So that's the only bit where we hurried. We're going to show you how, now the next steps. If I go into Google Maps, well, actually we'll do this first, and then I'll show you the Ford nav. There's the hotel that we're going to. I'm going to just tap on that. It says we will get there with 29% on arrival, negative 39% if we come all the way back here. So we are good to go all the way to our hotel with no problems. Now let me go ahead and show you. Ooh, that's close. Mm-hmm. Somebody cutting through the parking lot. Now let me show you the Ford nav. So they're now Westgate Resorts, same place, and the same thing. It's basically saying there's no charge required. This is saying that we'll get there at 35%. There's a bit of a climb getting in there. 82 degrees at arrival. Love some of these extra details. So pretty much we're ready to go. I'll mention that we will probably charge before we get into Vegas, and we'll get into that and why a little bit later. Now, even though your EV routing will pick your chargers for you, a lot of times there are other options that you can like look at. So like between LA area and Vegas, there's multiple options of what chargers we're going to use. So like we're getting ready to pass the Baker charging station, and we just sort of know it's like it has some pros and cons to it, and we're going to talk about like how to decide these. But you can look at the chargers themselves and see if it's one that you want to skip or change or whatever. You don't have to. You can just follow the EV routing plan. But once you get a little bit more advanced, you can take a look at some of the reasons to pick one charger over the other. I'll start with just the first part of it. So like here at Baker, you can sort of see it way off onto the left now. It is one of the bigger Electrify America stations. Has like 12 charging stalls. The last one had 8. There are a lot of EA stalls, stations that only have 4 stalls. So it's sort of like, in general, the more, the better. So you want, you when you have more options, that's great to have. Back in Barstow, like basically right across from where we charged at Electrify America, there was a Tesla Supercharger that we could have used that would have been cheaper, by the way. But also it had 120 stalls. So if you want ease of use and purpose, like you could look at that. If you want to save money, you can look at that. That's something else to consider.
But that Tesla Supercharger is actually a little less accessible. It's on a hill if you want to go up to the amenities and things like that, as opposed to Walmart where it's all flat. So those are also things to be aware of when you're looking into your charger. And you can use various apps, PlugShare, ChargeWay, even Electrify America, to see all the details about a charger, the amenities around it, and hopefully also how accessible it is. We do have a video coming out on that Supercharger if you'd like to see that. But that can be a challenge sometimes when the amenities aren't necessarily as accessible as everything else.
And we have the luxury of like, we're usually traveling together, so it makes it really nice. There are times when we're like coming up on like there's 2 superchargers or charging stations. Like I remember last summer we were going through Needles, California, and there was an Electrify America station and 2 Tesla superchargers, and we ended up going with the superchargers because there were more options, more stalls available. It was less busy, and one of them was 20 cents per kilowatt hour. Now the other amenities weren't great. There was no food around there.
But it was worth it.
But it was, yeah, we didn't need food at that point, so it was fine. And I did want to mention charging speed as well. There's some charging stations here that are actually out of order, which is another thing that you want to check, is like see if there's any bad reviews on PlugShare, for example. Most of the apps know to like avoid some of the problematic charging stations if they're out of order or whatever. But charging speed, your car and your navigation should pick like the ones that are more appropriate for your car, but you should know what your car needs to charge best. So the mach-e, depending on which model you get, is rated for between like 115 kilowatt charging and 150 kilowatt charging. It's very complicated. You don't need to know much beyond that. But like this car, this one does up to 150 kilowatts charging speed. So that means basically we can charge 10 to 80% in about 35 minutes or so. Not bad. Some other brands like Hyundai, they can do 10 to 80% in like 20 minutes. So they can charge even faster. But knowing that 150 kilowatt speed means that I don't want to pick a 50 kilowatt because that means it would charge 3 times as slow. About. Same thing if you, even in like a 120 kilowatt charger, that would charge a bit slower. Again, your nav should know which ones to route you to, but if you pull up to like some EA stations, they have like 150 kilowatt chargers and 350 kilowatt chargers. For the mach-e, it makes very little difference which one you use. You can use the 350 on a mach-e. The excess power is not going to be utilized, so it's completely fine. It actually charges technically a few minutes faster, but it's not a huge difference. So anyways, we'll have another video about DC charging and charging speeds and whatever. But the main takeaway here is if you see your nav routing you to something that's like 50 kilowatts or 80 kilowatts, you might want to like look around to see if there's any option that's more appropriate for your car.
But picking your chargers really goes hand in hand with planning your trip, because it can be really helpful to be aware of the chargers that are available to you along your journey. So, for example, the Baker charging station, we cannot use the superchargers that are there, but we can use the 12 Electrify America CCS chargers. But there's also an EVgo just down the road. So we know that there are multiple options, even though the food choices there are a little limited. But we also know all of the chargers along our stop and what amenities there are, so that we can plan our trips accordingly, and in a little way, like kind of treat it a bit more like what we might be more familiar with an old ICE trip, an old internal combustion engine trip, where you just kind of like, do we feel like lunch now? Whatever. So in this example, our previous charging stop, we're like, I feel like having lunch. Our navigation said that we should only stop for 10 minutes, really. We didn't listen to that because we know what other charges are available to us. We knew that we could even skip a charge by taking our time. So we were able to have lunch and take advantage of the amenities that were there, while also knowing what other amenities there are. And that's something that you might find with your EV road trips, is that you might want to take advantage of that time and combine numerous things. So if you're going to be parked somewhere for 30 minutes, might as well have lunch. Where are there good lunch options? That kind of thing.
We always try to combine our charging stops with either the bathroom or getting something to eat, or both. And then there's times when we're doing like a 10 or 12 hour trip where I don't necessarily want to visit a Walmart, but like last year we were going through Utah, it was like 110 degrees, and there was a Walmart, and it's like, that's a great opportunity to get out, walk around for a good distance.
And air conditioning.
And it's air conditioning. So it's sort of, you know, these are some of the things you may not think about as much in a gas car, but you sort of do, because like you get off at the exit and you're like, do I want Burger King or do I want McDonald's? I'm going to go to, you know, the gas station that's right next to one of those. So it's sort of the same thing. And it's way easier when you have two people, because one person can be looking stuff up and the other can be driving or doing hands-free driving. So really, that's the biggest takeaway, is like you can look a little bit deeper and modify your plan. And as Liv pointed out, it was so great. Like we sort of not played it by ear. We modified the plan by getting something to eat, charging quite a bit longer.
Quite a lot extra, yeah.
It's not the most optimal speed-wise, but for us, it ended up being that way because we got something to eat while the car was charging, instead of making two stops, which, again, we're going to probably make another stop. We'll get to that in a little bit.
But Walmart might be boring and normal, but there's sometimes even cooler spots that you might find on a road trip. For example, there's a Tesla Supercharger right outside is at the Route 66 Museum.
Yep, in Kingman, Arizona.
Kingman, that's it. Such a great spot, and like really wonderful to be able to charge and then go and frequent a local site and educate yourself, entertain your kids, and bring traffic to this location that might otherwise not necessarily get traffic if it's a little off the beaten path. So that's a big win-win, and that's something else that you can find if you really dig into your charging stations.
Well, I think that's it for this part of it, but I do want you to leave a comment, like, what's your number one amenity that you have to have? Is it bathrooms? Probably for most people, food or whatever. Let us know. And let us know if there's something that we forgot. One thing, and there's even including this on some apps now, is like a pet-friendly area, because that could be huge. You stop to charge and your pet needs to use their facilities, and that could be something difficult to figure out. But check the apps. They're letting you know that type of stuff too.
I do have a quick thing to add, actually, because I think, to me, one of the ultimate things is accessibility. So ensuring that your charger is accessible to everyone, because if it's not, then literally the most important aspect of it, the ability to be used, is not actualized. So that charging station that we were at last
Barstow.
in Barstow, the accessible chargers were blocked, and we're not really sure why. And you didn't notice that in the PlugShare app, did you?
Well, PlugShare,
I looked at it
said
afterwards.
one was broken or one was unavailable, but there was two that were blocked off, so, which is already a little bit of an issue. But it was the accessible ones, but they didn't say why. And not every station has accessible stalls. Not every station has pull-through stalls. Lots of details that you can look up in the apps.
But ultimately, you don't necessarily want to rely on everything being true. So have your co-pilot check on it and have a backup plan.
And we keep adding. By the way, one of the stops we were looking at taking is Primm, Nevada. And I forget, either Google Maps or Ford Nav suggested stopping in Primm. And then I looked it up on PlugShare, and it's been having intermittent power issues. And there's actually a note from Electrify America that says they're working with the power company, but there are intermittent power issues at that station. And that is like a huge red flag. There's no way I want to pull in there with like 10 miles of range left and the power's out. So I made a quick decision then. It's like, we definitely do not want to use that as an essential stop. So it pays to check ahead sometimes to see if there's anything going on, not just for amenities, but if there are problems coming up.
Mach-e!
Welcome
Amazing.
to Nevada.
We were distracted looking at the Primm charger, the Primm charger, where there was a Star White Mach-e charging. And now we are in Nevada. Yippee! We have arrived.
We're in South Las Vegas, and the reason I was saying we're going to stop here, even though we don't need to charge to get to our hotel, we're at 27% charge. I think we're like 5 miles from the hotel, 64 miles of range. Vegas can get very crowded when it comes to superchargers and DC fast charging and hotel charging. All of that gets super busy. So it's a Tuesday afternoon. This is available. It's before we get into the busy part of Vegas. So we're going to charge up here so that we have enough charge for the whole week. So that's what I was sort of meaning, is like, we're going to do like an extra bonus charge so that hopefully the entire 3 or 4 days that we're here, we don't have to worry about it. We're good to go. And we're also going to show you a Tesla Supercharger. So it's a little bit of a bonus. I'll show you how to use the adapter. We'll just do, actually I'll activate using the Tesla app because I think I still have the discount. So we'll do that. We'll do one or the other. We'll do that real quick.
And did we do our stats?
Oh, our stats. So let's do, yeah. So far today, that's this trip. So far today, we did 285.5 miles, 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour, 4 hours and 45 minutes of driving. Since we did our charge, it's been another 144 miles, 2 hours and 12 minutes of driving, 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour, and nice temperatures for the most part. Now we're in Vegas. It's in the mid 80s, upper 80s. So let's go charge. So I do have the Tesla membership. So this is a case where, to save a little bit of money, I'm going to use the Tesla app. And I was going to show you this. This is actually a GoPro case, but it fits the Ford charger perfectly. So this is the newer one. They have like 2 different models. This one is made in conjunction with Electron. But like I said, I'm just going to do screenshots. I won't do an actual recording. But I have the membership, and that means when I come in, it says find a charger. Take a screenshot of that. and it's basically going to center in on like right where I'm at. So anyways, like here's the stats. It's showing 19 to 28 stalls available that I need a NAX adapter or NAX port. I want to say, oh, let's see what the price is. 44 cents per kilowatt hour. I want to set charge here. And then what I need to do here is I got to identify the stall. So it varies based on what brand, but with Tesla, they're normally labeled like that. So I go over here, I'll take a screenshot. There's 5B. I just tap on that. I tap on start charging. And then now it says attach the adapter and plug in. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's literally just slide it in. Make sure you hear the click. And then plug in. Now, the first time it'll go blue, and then in a few seconds it should start flashing. And whatever system, whatever system I'm using, I can usually monitor it with their app. If you're not using their app, you can monitor it using like the car, whether it's Chevy or like for us, the Ford Pass app. Whoa, and I had a charging failed. We had an issue charging your vehicle. Please unplug, select another stall, and try again. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try this again. And then if we run into an issue, then we'll try a different stall, or I might try a different adapter. But this is going to get to our next point of like, what do you do if you run into problems? So we're just going to try it again. Sometimes things like that happen. So now we're back in here again. We got to zoom in. The app's being janky. I might just plug in and see if that'll work. It'll be a little bit more expensive. There we go. Actually, I'm just going to plug in and see if it'll start charging. There we go. Now I'm skipping the Tesla app, so we'll see if this bypasses the payment issue or something like that, and see if it starts charging. Because it's not in the Tesla app, now I'll go to the Ford Pass app to see if it's charging.
And it's flashing like it was before.
Yeah.
See if it errors out.
Nope, it's not charging here. And we charged here last time. There's an EA down there. We may just go use EA instead. We could try a different stall, but they're sort of the way they're spaced out.
Do you want to try a different adapter?
Oh, yeah, let's try that real quick.
It's interesting troubleshooting opportunity.
I just might go down and use EA.
Okay. Unless there's a line.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, right.
So I do have the other Tesla adapter. This is the original one. So first of all, I'll take this one off. Got to be very gentle. We'll put this one on. And because we're having problems, I'm just going to plug in and give it a try. And we'll see. It'll be a little bit more expensive, but I just want to see if this will work. So again, it goes blue. It should start flashing. And we'll see if it starts charging. Let's see. It's taking a little bit longer this time.
Flashing?
Flashing. Starting charger, it says on here. And then let's see if it goes and errors, or does it start working? Yeah, it seems like it's charging. It says fast charging to 80% by 4:46, which is
a long time.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Nope, it stopped again.
All right.
So this charging stall does not work. Well, that sucks.
This is a good illustration, though.
Okay, let's try this again. There is an EA station, but I'm sort of curious if this is going to work. One of the things with the Tesla Superchargers is their cables are really short, so I like to try it out. We're going to get everything ready again. And bear with me, I do want to try to charge with the app because I'm cheap. I want to save some money.
Well, and you're paying for it, too.
Yeah, and I'm paying for it, too. So this one is 1D. Their app can be really slow at times. But there's 1D. I want to say start charging. Attach adapter and plug in.
I didn't hear a click. There you go.
Plugged in. We'll take a look at the app now and watch the blue light there.
Flashing.
If it fails this time, it says initializing charge. Again, it says it may take up a minute. We usually find it's about 20 seconds, but it was interesting to see that that one failed. And it looks like charging in progress. 40 kilowatts charging speed, which is really slow. Now it's ramping up. You can't hear it with the mics, but the fan on there just went up. It's 131 kilowatts. So now we're good to go. So that was just a bad stall. 138 kilowatts. And I'm hoping that this will go above 150 because I want to prove my point that the mach-e is rated for 150 kilowatts, but it will go slightly over that. It just hit 150. I forgot I got to take screenshots. I'm not doing screen recordings. 151. Let's see if we get.
Just make you screen record.
I know I should have just did a screen recording. 152. But yeah, we've seen up to 159 on Tesla Superchargers. 167, I think, at an EA charger. But let's get in and it is actually hot out here now. It's like 88 degrees. So let's get in while it charges and we'll talk about how to handle charging problems like that. That was probably looked a little bit chaotic with us filming, and that was not planned. But I did want to touch base on what if you have charging problems. Now, the charging problems can range. Some of them are very easy to diagnose. Like if you pull up and the charger is just completely blank and dead, there's like no power. That's something that's easy to tell. Or like at Walmart when it was blocked off. This one was sort of interesting because this illustrates something that happens quite often. Very rarely, this is only the second time we've had this at a Tesla Supercharger, but we've had this at like EA. You plug in and it just doesn't work at that stall. You don't have to leave the station. You can try the other stalls that are around. So like we just tried this new one and it's now working. At Electrify America, some of the older stations have two handles. Sometimes it's just changing to the other handle if they're identical. Sometimes there's one CCS, one CHAdeMO, different connector types. So, but if it has the same connector type, you can just try a different handle. The other thing I wanted to point out too is like I was watching the charging speed. Most cars make it easy and you can see the charging speed in the car. The mach-e, unfortunately, I have to like look in the FordPass app or like the Tesla app in this case, depending on how I activated the charge, to watch the charging speed. I know that on these type of chargers, I should be getting 150 kilowatts to start off with, and it's going to start slowing down. So your initial speed is what you want to watch for. We had one Tesla Supercharger where we plugged in and it was charging at like 34 kilowatts. And I knew that was an issue. So I moved over to the other one and got the 150. And that happens actually, used to happen quite often at Electrify America. They've done some maintenance, so it's not as bad. But those are the things like just don't accept the low speed. But again, this is being aware of what the speed charger is that you're at. So like if you're on a 50 kilowatt charger, you're not going to get above 50 kilowatts. So just be aware. By the way, the Tesla Supercharger that we're at, it's not labeled, but it is a 250 kilowatt charger. But we're, again, getting the 150 kilowatts. Other things that I want to just sort of like, it may work, but be aware that like if the cable looks damaged at all, just don't use it if you can. There was an EV Go station in Denver that I used, and it was like the whole casing was like broken. It looked horrible, and somebody had just been using it. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to plug into that. It's just the sensors may not detect that there's a failure yet, but you just don't want to risk something dodgy like that. If it looks damaged at all, don't use it. And you also like might want to check the pins because like a lot of these get dropped on the ground, they get dirt in them, and it can just create issues. So what other, you want to?
So some of this is being prepared as well. So when you're going up to a charger and you check it on PlugShare, oftentimes people will say 4 is erroring out a lot, or number 3 has a broken handle, whatever. So sometimes you can be prepared when you're rolling up on a charger to avoid certain stalls and shoot for other ones. Like this one's been great, or you just see that someone checked in and had a successful charge at a certain one. Another thing is, and part of this goes into being prepared, don't panic. unfortunately, EV charging can be a little finicky. There might be situations like this. It's not a big deal. We spend a couple extra minutes and now we're charging, but it's very easy in those times to panic and freak out, especially if you're not prepared. So for us, we know right over there, just at the end of the parking lot, there's an Electrify America. It's often a really busy one. It's not right now, which is amazing, but we know that that's there, and that really, really helps. So being prepared and having a backup plan, being aware of what you're rolling into so you don't go and take that one bad charger that everyone's posted about and
the camera. One of the cameras fell.
One of the cameras fell. We weren't even using it, thankfully, and it hit my fake leg. Whew. So just be prepared, and that goes into that a little bit.
The EA is now full. I just checked
it.
So yeah, and one is out of service. 5 are in use. So, but yeah. So going back to like when you're actually at a station and you run into a problem, did you see how I sort of handled it? It was like, well, let me try. Like I was trying to use the Tesla app, that didn't work. So maybe my payment wasn't working. So then I switched to plug-in charge, which is of course using my Ford account instead of the Tesla account. Still didn't work. Let me try a different adapter. Still didn't work. Then I moved over to a different stall and it worked. So it sort of like just went through like the easy checks to see if I could get it to work. And the final one would have been, as Liv said, is like we would have went down there and a kiss gotten in line for EA. It did not look busy when we first looked at it, but yeah, bottom line is be prepared, know how to diagnose it. Almost all of these have, all the charging companies have tech support lines where you can call. If you have Ford, there's like a EV concierge. I'll put a link down below. I forget how to access it, but you can sign up so you can text them and ask for help. But to be honest, like what you really most likely need to do is contact Electrify America or EVgo. Tesla, I've never had to call their tech support. I don't know how responsive they are. And with so many available and we see like other people charging, the solution was just to try different stalls. That's probably easier than calling and trying to like troubleshoot. Bottom line though, or not bottom line, but one additional thing, we like to check in on PlugShare and ChargeWay. We've done Google Map reviews, like add info that's helpful so other people maybe don't have problems. So I'm going to check in on PlugShare and note that the handicap stall, which was 5D, I think. 5B, and just say like, hey, that one, I couldn't get it to initiate a charge with an AX adapter, but 1D worked. So the other people may see that in the notes and they'll avoid it and don't waste 10 minutes trying to get it to work.
Yeah, and some of this we speak of, we have experience with. So like Electrify America, we've been at Electrify America stations where we've had to call Electrify America. I think there's even a chat where you swipe up at the charger. So you're on the app in the charger. I think you can swipe up and chat at the bottom, and you can call. So I think we've done both at the same time to see like who got.
I don't remember. Yeah.
If you're ever interested, watch our old videos because we've had troubles, we've had adventures along the way. But a lot of this also comes down to know your destination. So we're actually in Vegas right now. We are at our destination. Our hotel is 2 minutes down the road?
About 5 miles.
5 miles down the road. So why are we charging? Because Vegas, like Patrick said, is a tough location. It's hard to find chargers. A lot of people charging, Electrify America, Tesla, everything. It's hard to find chargers at the casinos too. And oftentimes when you're coming into Vegas, you're going to be really busy somewhere where it's hard to get to your vehicle. It can be hard to get to your car when it's in a casino parking lot or something like that. We're here for the electric vehicle charging summit. Do you want to do it?
No, I just want to say like we're still charging at 108 kilowatts. So just so you know too, like watching for troubles, your charge will slow gradually. And at 80% it drops to like in the 40s, depending on your car though. But yeah.
So know your destination, and that's a big thing, and don't necessarily count on the charging situation at your destination. But all the way back when Patrick recommended that you carry your charging adapter, your
adapters,
your charger, your portable charger with you, maybe your destination has an option for you to plug into the wall. Perhaps you're visiting family, something like that. So if your destination isn't somewhere that has good public charging options, it's okay. You can sort of make your own home charging option, and that can be incredibly helpful.
And we have used hotel charging. The first time we came to Vegas on a road trip in an EV, several years ago. Actually, it was the second time, but anyways, it was great. It was like our car was like the only one charging for the 3 or 4 days that we were here. It was fantastic. It actually was like VIP parking. The situation has changed quite a bit. And we've found now that like sometimes the hotels will have 2 chargers, but they're full. The last time we came, last summer when we came through Vegas, the hotel had 4 chargers, but the cables were cut. So don't depend on it. But when you are booking a hotel, it's nice to check to see if they do have that option. A lot of times it's free, sometimes it's not. And also let the hotels know that like, hey, I booked this hotel because it has EV charging, because we want more hotels to go like, hey, that might be a reason to put them in. That's what we're going to talk about at EV Charging Summit with some people over the next couple of days. But yeah, I think we can almost wrap this up. We tried to provide you guys with a lot of tips, tried to keep it segmented correctly. Did you have anything else with charging problems or? I'm sure we forgot a lot of things. We wanted to be the ultimate guide and cover a lot of bases, but we also didn't want to go, too much into detail in any one thing, but we probably will circle back around. The main thing is like, you really don't have to get too stressed about it. Yes, this is a long video, but it was partially because we had a 5-hour road trip. Might as well bring you along for the ride. I'll let you wrap it up.
Well, let us know if you like this educational road trip. We figured perfect time to do the ultimate EV road trip guide. So let us know what you thought. Do you like this vibe of like a themed road trip where we're going to take you along for the journey and provide some education about something specific? I'm going to call out something a complete tangent, but we're at 16,999 subscribers, and it would be so cool. No, we're still at 16,000.
She was hoping we hit 17,000.
So right now, if you could subscribe, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, subscribe, give it a like. That would be incredibly helpful and cool to us, because it's so awesome to come here to Vegas to the EV Charging Summit. Patrick is going to be running 2 separate podcast panels talking with industry experts on charging infrastructure in every way, as well as moderating a bunch of panels on funding and all that good stuff. 3 or 4 panels.
Yep.
So, and we're going to be connecting and documenting and talking to people and finding out more about what good is to come in the EV charging industry, because none of this would be possible if we didn't have EV charging, right? But the cars are here, the charging is here, and now it's just for us to have fun on the road with our EVs, hopefully be prepared, hopefully be packed, have our, what else? Charging strategy, all that
I'm ready to
good
go to the hotel.
He's ready to go. So thank you so much for joining us for this video in which we went on a road trip as we gave you guys the ultimate EV road trip guide. A huge thank you to our patrons whose names are scrolling across the screen right now. We truly appreciate you guys so much and your support of us in this channel. If you'd like to join our Patreon, you can do so down below. We have 3 levels. 1 level gets presents. Everyone else gets surprises and behind the scenes.
Early videos.
Photos. High fives, virtual high fives. And also thank you to our YouTube members who support us as well and get cool things like lightning bolts next to their names and the ability to leave fancy ponies. Somebody leave a fancy pony right now, please. That would be so awesome. So on that note, thank you so much for joining us for this video. And just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's on the ultimate EV road trip for you or not,
or just commuting back and forth,
whatever, enjoy the ride.
Bye.
Bye.